Hi guys, it's Aaron from Life Extra Large and I'm here at my friend's garage. He's got over £2.5 million worth of supercars, high performance cars. So what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly show you what the cars are like and which ones he has. Then I'm going to talk about how he's built his wealth to accumulate £2.5 million worth of cars. Now he's my best friend, so I know a lot about him. Let's quickly look at the cars, shall we? We have the Lamborghini Aventador. What a weapon this is. 70% of my friend's wealth comes from property, which is interesting. So this is something that we're going to highlight today on how to invest, where to invest, and how my friend actually acquired all these cars that you see behind me. So you have seen my friend's supercar collection. It's pretty badass, isn't it? Over £2.5 million worth of supercars under the one roof. And you know what? In fact, that was only 50% of his fleet. The rest were either at home or with his friends. So crazy lifestyle. Very lucky I get to drive them, I get to be around them, and also I get to be around the knowledge that he's acquired throughout his lifetime. So the question is, how on earth has my friend managed to afford such a lifestyle, such a great achievement? How has he achieved it? This is a classic example of investing in income producing assets, and that's exactly what he's done. So let's talk a little about his journey. So in his early 20s, probably around 21, 22, my friend was working a job, and the reason he was working a job was to get the income in, to get his savings up. He had a plan in his head which he wanted to execute. So as he built up his savings, he managed to buy his first buy-to-let property. Then of course when the tenant is in there, the tenant continues to pay the rest. Now the first property probably took him a year and a half, 2 years to afford, but then the second property, it took slightly less as he had the rental income from the first property, and also he was still working a job. So now he's got slightly more income coming in. So the second property didn't take as long, and the third property didn't take as long, and the fourth property didn't take as long. So you kind of get the idea. This is what we call the snowball effect, also known as the compound effect. Now he has well over 50 to 60 properties that are out on rent, some of them being HMO'd and shared accommodation, and he has that income coming in every single month. Now again, all he did was work hard at the very start. He put the deposits in. Now his money is just making more money. And that's the trick, and that's the key to financial success and wealth is you do not want to be trading your time for money. It's not so bad at the start when you're starting up and you're just trying to build a bit of a balance to get up on the ladder. But after that, what you really want to be doing is having the income coming in. You've now got, let's say, £15,000-20,000 you can put into another property, or you can invest in some stocks or shares or artwork. That's what you want to be doing, and that's exactly what my friend does. So now he gets to live a life that's enviable, really, to be honest. You know, he's free, he's got supercars, he's got an amazing lifestyle, he's married, and he's incredibly happy. So what we're going to be talking about today is how can you get on that ladder. Again, my friend, I do love him. He is just an average person. All they've done is they had a plan, they put it into action, and they've done the work and they stuck to it. Yes, it's taken them around 11 years to achieve where they are now, to get to where they are now, but they got there in the end. Remember, time is going to pass anyway, so you're better off doing something now that your future self will thank you for. So let's quickly talk through how he's done it. I've got a model up, which is from Robert Kiyosaki, somebody who's taught me a lot throughout my life. I've read all of his books, I've been to some of his seminars, and he taught me the difference between assets and liabilities. I've got a diagram of his up, which is called the assets versus liabilities diagram, and let's go through it now. Everybody learns in different ways, so maybe this will kind of put it into perspective what I was talking about. It's a more of a graphic way of looking at assets and liabilities. So let's quickly look at this. So again, this is a cash flow chart from Robert Kiyosaki, one of the guys that I've learned from. On the left hand side here, we have, this is the cash flow pattern of a rich person. That's their cash flow pattern. And then on the right hand side, this is the cash flow pattern of the middle class being the average person out there who's working a job. So what we'll do very quickly is we'll look at the cash flow pattern of a middle class. Now, the average person works a job, and the reason they work a job is to get a salary. So you constantly have to be trading your time for money in order to earn income, correct? So then after the income comes in, what will happen is you obviously have some liabilities. So maybe you've bought a new house, you've bought a new car, you've put some home improvements or something on your credit card, you've bought some designer clothes. What traditionally tends to happen is as you climb up the ranks in your career, maybe you've become a manager, then a regional manager, you may be a national manager, then you've become a director, so on and so forth. Your liabilities tend to grow with it. You'll probably get a better car, you'll probably upgrade to a better house. All of this stuff is just increasing that liability chart right there. But then what happens is, because of these liabilities that you're consistently building up, you now have expenses. They are converted to expenses at the end of the month. So you have to pay your taxes, you have to pay your mortgage payment, you have to pay your car payment. After that's left, then you'll save whatever has ended up right at this arrow. But what's happened, this is something we call the trap here. This is something we call the trap. And the reason we call it a trap is now you have to constantly work a job in order to pay these expenses, because you've created more and more liabilities. Instead of bringing the income from here to invest in assets, you've invested in more liabilities. So to pay off these, mortgage payments are sometimes 25 years, 30 years, car payments are 3-4 years. You have to constantly work. So now you are totally trapped. And this is what the average person does. Let's look at the cash flow pattern of a rich person. What rich people do is they have invested in assets, just like my friends. So my friends invested in real estate, what we call property, stocks, bonds, notes, intellectual property, businesses, so on and so forth. This then produces income. As you can see, this line, it produces income. It produces rental income, dividendal income, interest income, and also royalties. So from this, they can then go on to pay their liabilities and expenses. So what happens is, unlike Joe Bloggs over here, they don't have to constantly work a job as they've invested in assets, and this is where the income comes from. So you can actually sit back and just manage these assets instead and have the assets pay off your liabilities and expenses. This in essence is what we were talking about. This is exactly what my friend has done. He worked at a job at the very start just to build up his savings. Instead of investing in liabilities, he invested in more assets. So the question is, how can you start to build up some savings so that you can go and invest in whatever it is that you want to invest in? Maybe it's property, maybe it's artwork, maybe it's shares, or maybe it's your own business. Let's take a look. So firstly, maybe you have some savings put by already and it's enough for a buy-to-let. I would suggest just go and do it. Just honestly go and do it. Go and sit down with an estate agent or somebody you know who already manages properties. Go and pick their brains about what it takes, what's required, and whether you're eligible to get a buy-to-let. And I would say to start exploring that avenue. That's tip number one. Tip number two. Maybe you don't have the savings put by just yet for a buy-to-let property, so you need to start building up your bank balance. Let's find a way to do it. The best way, for me anyway, was eBay and Amazon. So it's an amazing hustle. It's very popular right now. So you can find things on Facebook Marketplace, charity shops, you can find things at wholesalers, and you can get them usually for dirt cheap, and you can list it, you can get it ready and put it all on eBay and Amazon and wait for the sales to come in, and obviously you can make anywhere between 30 to 40% profit margin per item. So that's somewhere that I would suggest to start. What I personally done at the start was, this was a tip that my business partner gave to me, was to go to charity shops and scan the barcode using eBay's barcode scanner. The item might be 99 pence, but it may have been selling on eBay or Amazon for, let's say, $10.99 or $11.99, and obviously you can see that data real time on the eBay app. So that's something I would suggest for you guys to do. Yes, it might take an hour out of your Saturday or Sunday, or 2 hours out of your Saturday and Sunday, but honestly it is worth it. If you can go and buy 10-15 items and you've bought them for, let's say, £10-15, but the return on that is anywhere between £100 to £150, in no time you'll start to build up that bank balance, and you can go get your property or artwork or shares or whatever it is you want to do. Thirdly, invest in yourself. That's probably the biggest one, and there's a very famous quote from Warren Buffett: is the best investment you can make is within yourself. And I will link a few courses below that I've personally been through and looked at. It's helped me on my investment journey. Again, I don't have rich parents, rich family. I didn't have rich friends before this. Now I do. But it took the knowledge to get me to where I am. You know, nobody really sat me down at the start to say X, Y, Z. These are the keys to success. This is how you buy properties. This is how you buy shares. This is how you build businesses. I had to learn from the people that have done it already, and the best way for me to do it was to find the best mentors and gurus online. There are a lot of them out there, but I've managed to source the best ones. So again, like I said, in the description below there will be a link. Please go and invest in yourself before anything. And lastly, Upwork, Fiverr, Marketplace. These are great platforms for you to sell your services on. So maybe you are a graphic designer, maybe you're handy with technology, maybe you can build websites. You know, there's many skills out there that people can do, and people out there are willing to pay for them. You know, I don't know how to build websites, so I employ a web designer to build them for me. I don't know how to do certain things, so I find the people that can, and I pay them in return for their value. Find out what you're good at, and you can list these services on websites like Fiverr and Upwork. Again, it can be anything: graphic design, website building, taxes, accounting, administration. Thank you guys. That was just a very quick video on my best friend, his wealth, how he's built it, and how you can get on to the ladder of success. Now, hopefully you found some value from it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, of course, as well. I appreciate the support. Thank you.